Hey, what's up, guys? Shuckle King here, bringing you my run for Summer Showdown 2018. I made it past both pools, and hopefully we're going to go pretty far this tournament. I was not able to get past round 2 pools last year and was able to do it this year, so hopefully I can bring home the big money that Joel provides. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe to support my content going forward. I'm going to be having pretty cool content in the next couple weeks. Different stuff than what I've been typically posting, though it's involving the Draft League format, so it should be pretty cool stuff going on. For my round of 64 match, it's against Rise, and I believe I'm the 8 seed and he's a 9 seed or something. Seeding doesn't make a ton of difference, though. You'll be playing good people regardless because they made it out of both pools. We're both in the top 25%, I guess you could say, out of everybody involved. So anyway, his team, it's pretty scary. He has a Thunderous Eye with Z moves, Alolan Muck, Garchomp, Starmie, Cinccino, Skarmory, Mega Diancie, and Volbeat. Now Mega Diancie is actually not too scary against my team just because I have Mega Scizor, and even Suicune handles and Greninja can revenge kill it. But mainly Mega Scizor pretty much hard stops Mega Diancie. Volbeat can be annoying, but I can definitely take it down with my team, especially with Infernape. But I do expect the top 6 to come Thundy-Eye, Muck, Garchomp, Starmie, Cinccino, and Skarmory. Thundy-Eye, my electric resist is Palossand, and Raichu does not outspeed. So Thundy-Eye has a pretty good matchup. And especially with Z moves, it's going to be pretty tough to try to switch into it. Like Thunderbolt plus maybe Grass Knot or Dark Pulse. I guess Dark Pulse makes more sense to take on Raichu plus Palossand. And he could be like Nasty Pot Agility, could be Electrium or Dark EMZ. That would be really annoying for my team to try to take down. Alolan Muck is really good. It beats the Mew, unless I'm like defensive with the Will-O-Wisp, but even then it like knockoff beats it. And if he has Curse, he can still out-curse me, so I'd have to be like Will-O-Wisp, Taunt, knockoff to take off the Berry, and then Recovery, which wouldn't really help the rest of the team. It beats the Clefable, beats the Palossand, which would probably be my best answer for the Thunderous. It's going to have a fire move for Mega Scizor. It's going to be really annoying. And Assault Vest is really good in this match, but he could also be a Curse Figgy Berry set easily. And Garchomp, because I don't have a ground resist or a ground immunity on my team, or a ground resist. So Garchomp is going to be super, super bad versus my team, or super annoying, super bad for me to try to handle anyway. Suicune can do it okay, as well as Mew if I'm defensive, but he really has no reason to not run Choice Band at Earthquake, and that's probably the only move he needs to run, honestly. Starmie does pretty well, but Greninja outspeeds it. Cinccino is actually pretty annoying, though Mega Scizor is a pretty hard counter to it. And Skarmory is annoying. I mean, I can Scald it with Suicune Greninja. Mew can have fire coverage. Infernape's there. But it can get spikes and Stealth Rock Step, and I really don't want that to happen. Because spikes would wear down my team pretty bad because I don't have a ground resist. So I'll be getting hit by all the spikes. So the team I'm going to try to come back to beat this. The top 3 mons, I have Scizor on the screen right now, so Scizor's going to be one of the mons I bring, but Greninja also does really well just because it outspeeds everything. And then with its coverage, I should be able to put in decent work, like Water Move for Mega Diancie, and hits the Muck, Volbeat, Cinccino, Ice Beam for Garchomp, Water for Skarmory, Dark Pulse for Starmie, Ice Beam for Thunderous. So between like Water, Ice, and Dark, I should hit his team pretty well. And like Muck can take hits, but he doesn't want to get burned by Scald if possible. Suicune, in that same vein, also does pretty well with Water and Ice coverage. It doesn't get Dark coverage to my my knowledge, but I can Toxic Starmie, or I could have a different answer for Starmie besides Suicune. But again, with Greninja, Thunderous annoys it, especially if it's Scarfed or like has a Rock Polish up. And Cinccino with Bullet Seed is also a pretty big nuisance. And Mega Scizor is pretty good just because it handles the Diancie and can prevent Skarmory from getting spikes up at Defog, though I won't be doing too much back in return unless I'm a Sword Stance set, which you guys can see I am not. So the team I'm bringing, first off, Greninja, Scald, Ice Beam, Dark Pulse, U-Turn with enough speed to add speed to Cinccino, and Expert Belt. because I'll be hitting everything super effectively against, besides the Skarmory and the Muck, Volbeat, and Tino. So there's a couple of things I won't hit super effectively. Volbeat, as long as I burn it, I should be okay, or I can flinch with Dark Pulses, though I'd have to watch out for like a U-turn or a Bug Buzz from Volbeat, but I'm not immune to Prankster, which is nice. Centino should be 2-hit KO'd by Scald, and I should outspeed it. Muck, I'm not going to do too much regardless, so if I can get a burn, that's alright. I don't need to take Life Orb Recoil. And Skarmory is going to take decent damage from Scald. I should be able to 2-hit KO if I get a burn on it. Next, I have Suicune with a lot of HP and defense. This allows me to live 2 Choice Banded hits from Garchomp. In my investment, I can also kill with an Ice Beam with a lot of special attack investment. Should get surprise damage off on like a Mega DNT. A Skarmory might expect to not get to a KO'd, or maybe didn't expect me to bring a Calm Mindset, which would be okay, but it would be pretty tough with a Starmie plus Thundurus on the team. And just that general increased damage maybe on the Muck will be certainly nice as well, especially if he's not a Assault Vest. I'm bringing a Palossand this matchup, mainly to handle the Thundurus, because I really need something for it. Like special defensive Mew, it really is not going to handle it the best, especially if he has Dark Pulse. And Dark Pulse is not going to be handled great by Palossand either. Like Mew still has overall bulk better than Palossand, but at least he's not super effectively hit, or like get stab hit by a Thunderbolt, which is nice. He could be like a Z-Fly set, but I would kind of doubt that. I'm probably not going to 1v1 the Thundurus with Palossand, but I should get it weak enough to or a Bullet Punch from Scissor knocks it out, or a Contra Ball with Greninja maybe revenge killing it. Stealth Rock Shura, pretty straightforward. Earthquake is to hit the Muck harder. In case he is Assault Vest, I should do decent damage to it. And a Shadow Ball is there for the for everything else on his team. Except for the Centino, that'll get hit with Earthquake too. Clefable's next, not much defense. I really didn't need a whole lot of defense on this Clefable. It's weird, because I would get 2-hit KO'd by a lot of stuff. So this is going to be my lead. Should be able to live any one hit and do a lot of damage in return. Flamethrower should really nuke the Skarmory if he leads with it. Moonblast really hits everything else on his team pretty hard. It 3-hit KOs the Muck, which is nice, so if he's a Assault Vest, I'll be wearing it down really quickly. If he's a Berry and he wants to recycle, I can Encore him into that. That'll be an issue for him. And that's why I went with Encore instead of like a Hidden Power Steel to OHKO to DNC. Instead, I'll be like doing 70-ish% to it. But if he attacks me instead of going for Rocks and I Moonblast it in return, he either kills me off and the anti-is really weak, or he gets Rocks up at that point and then I kill with Moonblast. So I'm okay with that exchange with Clefable, though it would be nice to have a move that OHKO the DNC. But Encore is really nice again over even counter for the Muck in case he is Curse. So if he's Curse, I can Encore him and he shouldn't be as big of an issue. Moonblast will do decent damage to the rest of his team. Next I have Mew with Choice Scarf, but with not much speed. But with that speed, I'll be able to outspeed this whole team. And like, he's not going to bring a slow Scarf. Like, he's not going to bring Scarf Skarmory or Scarfed Muck. So it's not like it's going to be an issue with this low of a speed. And I guess he could knock me off with Muck. But even if he does, I'm not going to be outspeeding anything on his team. He has really fast stuff and not fast stuff on his team. So I'm good with the speed tier here. And I hit everything super effectively except for the Muck. Muck's an issue. And especially if Pursuits trap me. Not going to be great, but I have a lot of bulk, so I should take hits pretty okay. But it should be a pretty cool set to hopefully throw him off guard. With a bulky set, but also being Choice Scarf. And last, I have Mega Scissor, as you saw before. It's a very defensive set. A little bit of speed to potentially speed creep stuff. But otherwise, knockoff for the Skarmory, so it's not going to be getting leftovers recovery. Bullet Punch is there for the DNC. It can take on Garchomp okay, and can get a Bullet Punches off on it, or knock off maybe the Choice Band on it. You could have Fire Fang or Fire Blast, but I'll have to deal with it, and maybe I can knock off a Assault Vest or Figgy Berry on Muck. So that's the team. Let's see how well it does in the match. Alright, here we are for my first battle against Rise. I don't think I've played him before, but he must be good if he reached past around a 64 here. But yeah, his team is pretty crazy against mine. He does bring the Volbeat, which is a little annoying since not coming is pretty nice. So I guess Scissor was a pretty good answer to it. And Mega Dancy not coming is not too big of a surprise for me. But my lead is always going to be Clefable here to try to get a cheeky kill on something. His rockers are either a Garchomp or a Scarm, so he might lead with one of those two. And hopefully I can get a surprise kill on one of them. So he goes into Garchomp, and that's perfect. I could predict a switch out into Skarmory, I guess, or Muck. I guess Skarmory really is his best switch in here. Maybe the Volbeat if especially defensive. But there's really but even then, a Life Orb Moonblast is going to do a ton to it. Not too much to Skarmory, but then a Flamethrower will knock it out. So I'm in pretty good shape here. Just clicked a Moonblast, and I killed a Garchomp unless he's Focus Sash, or like the Roselli Berry. But he goes for the Earthquake, and he kills me. I was pretty confused because I thought I was going to live no matter what, based on my defense investment from a Choice Band hit set, but he was actually Adamant Max Attack. And Adamant Max Attack actually has a 2 out of 16 chance rolled to knock me out with Earthquake based on my damage. And then I would have killed in return with a Moonblast. Unless he was like max HP, I had like a 80% chance to kill with Moonblast, but otherwise I had a basically 100% chance to kill with a Moonblast there, but he gets the 2 out of 16 roll to kill me with Earthquake. I guess I could have put a little bit more investment into my defense for that case, but I didn't think he was going to bring Adamant because of I guess Fast Suicune could outspeed. I think Fast Suicune would outspeed Adamant Garchomp as well as a Mew. So I didn't think he was going to bring that, but he did, and he got the roll, which puts me back pretty far. It wouldn't have mattered if my Clefable was at like 5% or however much HP left. If the Garchomp was gone, a big threat that could spam a Choice Band Adamant Earthquakes out of the way would be super nice for my team. But that was unfortunate, but I got to figure out a way to work around it. So I'm going to go to my Greninja, the only thing that can OHKO, or Suicune can too, but I don't want it to take the damage. And I go for the Ice Beam on it, and it does not do much to all to this Volbeat, but I freeze it. A little bit adjusted there, though. I would probably be okay with my Clefable not getting hacked, and okay with not hacking this Volbeat in exchange, but you take what you can get. So I freeze the Volbeat down, which is really nice, and I'm going to take full advantage of it. I can Dark Pulse spam and hopefully kill this Volbeat, because a special defensive set does pretty well against my team, especially because Clefable is down, so I can't Encore it into Shenanigans or Moonblast and do a lot of damage to it. So I got to Dark Pulse it down, and hopefully I can kill on one of these next two hits. But he thaws out here and roost up. So that's pretty unfortunate. I had to go for the Dark Pulse and hopefully kill it. But he doesn't thaw, which is fine. I'm going to U-turn out of here, not afraid of him Toxicking or Thunder Waving me as he does here because of Prankster not being affected by Dark types. So that's pretty good in my regard, and I can go into Scizor. I'm not going to be able to kill, but I can get off at least a leftover, so it's not as annoying as this Volbeat currently is right now. Especially because my Clefable again is dead, but that's fine. I can knock off the Volbeat, get a lot of damage off on it, and I should be able to wear it down throughout the match with like my Mew, plus getting a burn with a Suicune or a Greninja, and getting rocks up with my Palisand. So I'm just going for bullet punches. He can't really do too much to me, but I can stall out his roosts. So this isn't a winning matchup for him, so he has to switch. Goes into a Skarm, and I'm okay with this because he's leftovers. I can knock off his leftovers and maybe get a kill with a Mew with Fire Blast and not worry about Sturdy. World's Wins behind going to Suicune. Probably the worst. No, Palisand probably would have been worse, but Suicune's the next worst just because I know he's going to Toxic. So I have to go back in my Scizor, and we're going to play a game of neither of us really wanting to switch out, but neither of us can really do anything in return. So it's a kind of awkward phase here, but I do have a lot of PP on my moves with Knockoff, Bullet Punch. So he is going to whirl me out and go into Mew. Now I'm going to switch out of Mew, even though I do have Fire Blast, and I can probably knock out the Skarmory. He does have a Muck, which is a really easy play for him to go into, and I can hopefully bait that I don't have anything for the Skarmory. So I'm going to switch out and go to my Scizor, which is like somewhat of the best thing to take on this this muck. He doesn't have Cincino or Mega Diancie, so Scizor is not as useful at this point. And I knocked off the leftovers over Skarmory. So if I can get the knockoff on this, which I find out is a Assault Vest, then that's good to know. He Fire Blast and does a ton of damage, but I figured having the Bullet Punch is nice. I can also roost up on the Skarm and the Volbeat, so I don't have to sack this off yet. So I can go into Suicune, and he does nothing. And like his physical attacks aren't going to do too much, just because he's at Assault Vest. He's not going to be able to curse up, so I can freely Scald on his team. It would be nice to get a burn and maybe to a KO his Volbeat, but I do not get the Scald burn there, which is fine. I can try to get it later on the match, but I don't want to get Toxic. So I'm going to switch out of my Mega Scizor, and it gives me an opportunity to roost up. I'm okay with this Volbeat roosting up, as long as I can get a little more HP on this Scizor to handle the Skarm and Volbeat a little better. I know a Hidden Power Fire can knock me out here, so I'm going to switch my Greninja, which is a little risky, especially if I take a Thunderbolt, but he did not, and I'm in a pretty good chance to Dark Pulse or a U-turn. So I go for the Dark Pulse, does not do a whole lot to Volbeat. Gonna go for the Scald. I could have switched out into my Scizor, might have been a better play, but I figured he was going to U-turn and get momentum anyway, so I wanted to try to get a burn on his Volbeat so I can wear it down throughout the match later on. But I do not get the burn here again, which is fine. He goes for U-turn, does a lot of damage. That's not the end of the world, but he brings in Muck here, and I'm kind of figured that I'm screwed and he's going to Pursuit Trap me. So I think there might be a chance he doesn't kill if I stay in, so I can get 2 Scalds and hopefully I can burn this Muck here. So I'm going to go for the Scald, try to get the burn, and I do not, and he kills me with Knockoff. So I guess I could have switched out and saved my Greninja, but it's 50-50 there. Maybe not if he didn't have Pursuit, but I kind of figured that he would from you. It would make sense. So I lose my Greninja there, which is a pretty big offensive threat. I have to really rely on Mew to win this match at this point, plus Suicune to an extent, to hopefully get a Mirror Coat hit off, which I don't think I explained in the Team Builder, but Mirror Coat Suicune is hopefully going to catch like a Thunderbolt from Stormy or something like that. I'm not going to take a Gigavolt Havoc from Thunders. I might take a Volt Switch though. I don't remember the calc. But I bring in Palisand. He's weak to Knockoff, I know, but I can kill from this range with Earthquake, which is really nice. Or I can try to get my rocks up and I kill the Volbeat. He goes into Skarmory, and it's kind of an issue just because I'm pretty hard walled by Skarmory with Palisand. I could do Shadow Ball, but that's not going to do too much, and Skarmory can easily roost up, Toxic, stall me out. But going for Rocks here also kind of forces him to defog, he doesn't want his Thundy or his Volbeat dying, or his Thunder's taking damage. So I'm going to go into my Mew, and at this time I have to go for the Fire Blast and try to kill the Skarmory. And I'm in really good range to kill it, or at least severely weaken it. So I'm going to go to Fire Blast and miss. That summed up a lot of how the game went so far. I still have a chance to win this game, but with me not killing this Skarmory right here at Fire Blast and he getting the Toxic burn off of me, it's going to be pretty tough. I'm going to have to make every prediction pretty much right from here on out, but I still have a pretty good chance to win. Suicune still has a pretty decent shot to win if I can somehow kill this Thundurus with my Palisand. So I missed the Fire Blast there, unfortunate. I have to stay in and keep going for it though. And he doesn't know I'm Scarfed at this point. I could just be any type of set. So he goes into the Muck, and I Fire Blast and hit, fortunately. And because I knocked off the Assault Vest earlier, I have a chance to a KO if I don't miss, and I don't miss. So I do kill with 2 Fire Blasts in the Muck. So one threat finally gone, turn 29. Took long enough. It should have been after turn 1, but it is what it is. Goes into Stormy. I'm going to go into my Suicune, which should be able to take it on pretty well. Even if he Thunderbolts, it's going to be annoying, but I don't think he would go for it. So he goes for the Hydro Pump here. He really... It's kind of a weird play for me. Protect is pretty solid for me just to get leftovers recovery. He goes for Psy Shock. This might reveal that he doesn't have Thunderbolt, but I also felt like he could have been scouting out if I was if I had the Protect. So he would Psy Shock there, predicting the Protect, and then go for the Thunderbolt on like the next turn, so that way it would do more damage, and maybe like baiting that he doesn't have it. So I'm going to stay in and go for the Mirror Coat. If he Psy Shocks, it should also do a decent amount of damage. Probably kill it, actually. But he switches out in a Skarmory. That play doesn't work that well, but that's okay, because Scald, Ice Beam, Protect should be good enough for the rest of his team. Again, I don't want to get Toxic by the Skarmory, so I switch out. And he goes into Garchomp, which is a good play by him. Risky, because I could have Scalded and 2-hit KO'd the Skarmory, which I don't think was a bad play there. And if he went into Garchomp and I burned him, or like even gotten chip damage off and killed the Garchomp with my Suicune, I would have definitely been okay with that. But I do not. I go into my Scizor, which doesn't do a whole lot at this point. I'm able to knock off the Choice Band, which is great. But at this point, I still kind of want to save my Scizor for the Volbeat plus the Skarmory. I can at least roost up on them, and having the chance to a Bullet Punch, maybe for chip damage later off, would be really nice. So I'm going to switch out and go to my Suicune, because I should be able to take 2 hits, especially because he doesn't have a Choice Band anymore. So I take that pretty comfortably-ish. Now I predict here that he would predict my Protect. Oh no, I guess it's this play here. So I go for the Ice Beam. I have to try to kill the Garchomp what's in front of me. I could have protected there, but I predicted that he was going to switch into something. So that's why I just went for the Ice Beam rather than try to get more leftover for recovery. Goes into Skarmory. I can't kill with a Scald here. But if I get a burn, he'll be in range where I'll be able to severely pressure it a lot easier with Mew plus my Suicune. But I don't get the burn. I switch out, predicting him to Roost and try to get his Sturdy back, especially because he knows I have Fire Blast on my Mew, and that could knock it out. But he switches out into his Thunders, which is a good play. It doesn't give me an opportunity to Roost for free on the Skarmory, so I have to switch out of my Palossand here, which is my Thunderous somewhat answer. He goes into Thunderbolt, which is really nice. I can either get Rocks up or try to chip down this Thunderous, which I have to chip down this Thunderous. If he's a Nasty Plat plus Agility, then I pretty much lose. So getting a crit there really helps. I can Shadow Ball, and then this next Shadow Ball will definitely put it in range of where a Bullet Punch from Scizor should knock it out, which is really nice. So Palossand kind of did his job. Well, he did his job. I knew I was going to 1v1 the Thundurus, but I was going to get it severely weakened. But instead of going out to Scizor, I'm going to go into my Mew and try to revenge kill. It's kind of weird. I guess Scizor might have been the right play, but he has Garchomp in the back with Rough Skin, and if I go for Bullet Punch, I'm not going to kill it. It's at 67%, so I'm probably not going to kill it in 2 hits, and I'm going to be really low HP at that point. I feel like I still need my Scizor, at least to an extent, to handle the Volbeat plus the Skarmory, because I don't want to get Toxic by the Skarmory as long as possible on my Suicune. So I'm going my Mew and try to revenge kill it. And he goes into his Starmie as I go for the Ice Beam. I could have gone for maybe a different move there. It would have been pretty risky. I felt like it was pretty risky to go into the Starmie at that point. But he goes into it and it works out for him. Not in the greatest spot at this point. I wasn't in the greatest spot since turn 1, to be honest. But I can go into my Suicune. I should be able to take it all right, because I'm expecting he could recover here. But he goes to the Hydro Pump, does a lot of damage. To the point where a Thunderbolt will definitely knock me out. I'm going to protect just to get more leftovers. Maybe he doesn't have Thunderbolt. He goes for the Psyshock again, which is definitely fine with me. And here, it probably makes sense for me to go for the Mirror Coat, and I do. Mirror Coat makes sense there. If he recovers, that's fine. At the very worst, I get more leftovers recovery, and then I could maybe burn the Starmie with a Scald, and then I have more opportunities at that point to maybe switch out my Suicune and still have it alive. But Suicune's not looking too great now. It's pretty weakened, and the Starmie Psyshocks are doing a lot of damage to it. So I Scald here instead of protecting. Maybe predicting a switch out, but I don't get the burn, which is kind of unfortunate. And then again, predicting him to recover on my Protect. I go into Mew, but he Psyshocks and does a lot of damage back to me. So my Mew only has maybe 2, at most 3 hits left in it. I go for the Super Effective hit to try to take out this the Starmie, and he goes into the Skarmory and takes it pretty well. At this point, I go to my Scizor to hopefully roost up. I have to try to figure out a in to get into this game. But it's going to be pretty tough with this card chump lying around. I go in the Scizor and Roost up. Earthquake's not going to do a ton to me at this point. But I know he has Fire Fang or Fire Blast. So I have to hope he misses like once or twice to give myself a decent chance to win this game. But he does go for the Fire Blast and knocks me out, and that's pretty much game. I can't win because my Mew is a Toxic, and it's Scarfed. So the Suicune here forces him to go for Outrage because Earthquake, I don't think had a chance to kill after I protected. I get a kill with Mew, and then he can win the game here with the toxic damage that he racks up from his Skarmory. So good game rise. Kind of unfortunate how the battle went out since that turn 1 and missing the Fire Blast on the Skarmory. It was pretty unfortunate. I got the Ice Beam freeze on the Volbeat early on in the game too, but at least the side effects didn't really make a difference in the outcome of the battle. But the Fire Blast miss with the Mew and the really high roll with the Earthquake really put me back far. But it happens with these types of tournaments. At some point, people's teams are good. It's only 8 Pokemon though, so there's going to be a lot of holes in different teams. So it's a lot of times it's just hopefully getting the right matchup that works out well for you, because a lot of teams are going to have really solid cores at this point, but you can't have really answers for everything on your team. So overall, a little disappointed. I knew I was also going to be pretty busy during the Saturday game where the further bracket of this March Madness would have happened, because I was actually buying a car at Saturday, so I'm pretty happy about that. Unfortunately, they had to pick up the car from a different dealership. It was a 2018 model, which is a little bit cheaper now because 2019 models are coming out. They had Labor Day sales and such. So he's picking up a 2018 model from a different dealership, and he actually totaled it on the drive from that dealership to my dealership that I was going to buy it from. So that was pretty unfortunate. He had to go a couple hours away to get the same model, but he knew I was going to buy it. So I guess that was worth it for him to take that extra drive. That really sucks that somebody hit my car, but I basically got the same car, so no big deal. But that delayed my time from 10. I was going to purchase the car, and then I would have had time to do the bracket there. To 1, 2 o'clock-ish was my new appointment. So I was going to be pretty tough to actually make the round of 32 live bracket. So it wasn't the end of the world that I lost down on this. I have more exciting things happening on the channel pretty soon with a lot of time priorities there. So I wanted to make sure I was prepped for those. But as an overall, so Clefable had 4 kills and 4 deaths in 5 games brought. Clefable's pretty solid. 15 points is definitely worth a early second round pick in my opinion for it, especially with only 8 people drafting. Has really good value. Mega Scizor had 1 kill and 5 deaths in 5 games. Mega Scizor is tough. I wanted to try it out. It was that or Mega Kangaskhan picking the team initially. I went Mega Scizor because it's a good defogger, and it really did well in that defogging role. Mew wasn't forced to do that at all. So I'm really satisfied with Scizor in that role. Regular Scizor might have been okay in that role too. And I don't know, a lot of people packed Fire coverage, which makes sense because I don't have any other 4-time weak Pokemon on the team. So I feel like Mega Scizor really shines on teams with Landorus or Zygarde. It forces you to run Hidden Power Ice, so that way you don't have to run. So you can run Hidden Power Fire, and Scizor is a lot more effective in that regard. Mew, 4 kills, 6 deaths in 6 games. I brought it to every single game. That and Suicune were the only 2 I brought to every game. Mew's easily a top 1 pick, a round 1 pick. Probably top 5. I don't know if it's a top 1 or 2, but definitely in the top 5. Very versatile. I liked its offensive capabilities and potential as a sweep. Even though I had more dust with it than kills, it really set my other Pokemon on my team up to succeed very well. So I was overall very satisfied with Mew as well. Greninja had 7 kills and 4 deaths in 5 games. Toxic Spikes were really nice. The bases of this team worked pretty well with Pressure Saw with Suicune plus Greninja Toxic Spikes plus Bulk and Mew and Clefable and Mega Scizor. Infernape to get momentum throughout, Raichu to get momentum and deal with Tapu Koko, and Palossand to deal with other electric types. So the base of the team really well, and Greninja shine in that role as a toxic spike setter and very fast. I'm very happy I got it over Roserade. Though Roserade was picked anyway, I believe. Infernape, 3 kills and 4 deaths in 5 games. I would have expected Infernape to have more kills than what it actually got. But, I don't know. I felt like it had very great momentum throughout, like doing a lot of damage to Latias game I had in the round 2 pools. Choice Band, Choice Scarf are really solid sets on it. I didn't run a special set. I like physical a lot more just because the stabs won't miss. I didn't go with like a sword stand set either, which would have been really nice, but Infernape's role was really to gain momentum. Suicune, 3 kills, 4 deaths in 6 games. Suicune is a very solid, especially for how cheap it was. I think it was 12 points. It's definitely worth that. That's like a solid 3rd round pick, I would say. Maybe even low 2nd, high 3rd round pick for 12 points. Suicune is a super nice bulky water type, especially if you get toxic spikes with it. So it doesn't have to run toxic every week. And I don't think I ran toxic too much on it, unless they had like a levitator that was really bulky. Palossand, no kills, 1 death in 1 game. It took on the Thundurus that last game where I needed it to, but it's kind of tough. It's pretty passive, not that strong. It has really nice typing with a Ghost Ground, a block Rapid Spin, which I don't know if I faced any Rapid Spinners besides this Starmie. I don't think I did. I'm looking, no. I didn't face any Rapid Spinners besides Starmie, so that also might be a reason why I didn't bring a Palossand as much, because I didn't need to Rapid Spin block, but it's decent. I mean, it's 5 points. I wasn't expecting much out of it. I was expecting maybe 1 out of every 6 or 7 games I would bring it, so it makes sense. But Raichu, Alolan Raichu, had 8 kills, 1 death in 3 games. It really exceeded my expectations. Even if I don't have Tapu Koko, having that little bit extra special attack, base 95 compared to base 90 for a regular Raichu, plus that psychic offensive typing, it's really clutch. Giving it an additional stab with psychic, it's really nice to take on like Nidoqueen, which was an issue. Psychic coverage was good for what else? I mean, in general, having like water, grass, fighting coverage that it has. Mega Lopunny was another thing I had psychic coverage for that just regular Raichu wouldn't be as efficient with. So yeah, I really liked Alolan Raichu. I would definitely draft in the future. I usually favored Raichu just because it has a better ability. And Alolan Raichu's ability is not going to be as useful if you don't have Tapu Koko. But I really did like Raichu. I feel like I will probably draft it in one of these types of tournaments in the future. But I'd say to here. But I guess I got to keep it a little suspenseful. I'll keep this video running for a little bit longer here. Maybe give the suspense it actually did pretty well this tournament. I'll play a game of Overwatch, I guess, on the PS4. So you guys can log out if you want. I just got to keep this video a little longer to maybe keep up that suspense. But until next time, later, guys. was a couple weeks ago. It was, I don't know, it was really staticky. I think even if I didn't have headphones in, I think my voice chat was really staticky. I had to change them. Trick point. I'm dead here at the back. Tracer behind us. Nice.